Captain's log, stardate 2025.03, I think. 30 seconds to podcast start. On today's episode of Three Picks, my first lieutenant and I will be picking a crew, characters from movies that we'd like to be stuck in space with. This is the final frontier of podcasting, my friends. Welcome to Three Picks.
Can't just pick one, you can't just pick two. Oh no, you gotta pick three, or we ain't picking you. Three Picks, the podcast.
Hey, what's up, y'all? Welcome to Three Picks. Today we are going on an adventure in space, picking three characters from three movies that we want to be stuck in space with. I have, as always, my buddy Chris Kennedy. What's up, Chris?
Hey, what's up? I'm just out here on some kind of Star Trek.
Dude, those... we'll get to that. Well, before we get into our picks, the reason we did the space episode this week is because Project Hail Mary just came out. So space is
that
back.
the latest Gosling?
That is.
I hear people are going actually nuts for it.
Heard it's actually nuts.
It's actually nuts.
I think it's
Gosling.
Breaking all the records, something like 80 million in its weekend
I love
domestically.
that for that movie. I love it.
So Project Hail Mary, for those of you who don't know, but you probably know by now, it's such a big deal. It's about Ryan Gosling. Even you don't even need to say his character's name because it's such a movie star performance.
What was his character's name? Do you know what his character's name is?
Ryland Grace.
Riley Grace. Okay.
Yeah. Ryland Grace. But it's such a movie star marquee performance. It's been a while because I feel like last year so many of the successful movies were ensemble pieces, from Sinners to Minecraft movie. Like a lot of the biggest money-making movies seem to be ensembles, but this is really like a capital M movie star role for Ryan Gosling. I thought he was great in it.
I thought you were going to go the other way with this and say, oh my gosh, it was going to be such an amazing cast. And I was going to think to myself, it was a fucking rock. This is not winning best casting at the Academy Awards next year, I don't think.
But there was an actor portraying Rocky. So, spoiler alerts if you watch the trailer.
Are we spoiling this? Are we spoiling this?
Well, it's little, at least, just
bit.
in the fact that Gosling's character is tasked with saving Earth, basically. The sun is being eaten by a space algae called the astrophage. And Astrophage, my favorite it's 1980s
band.
Yeah, hair metal meets space.
Astrophage, we're gonna eat your sun.
That's pretty metal, actually. Sun eating algae. That's as metal as algae can get.
It's gonna eat your son. I call it astrophage.
That song's trademarked, so you guys can't use that now.
It's on the same album as Train Dreams.
Astrophage from the movie Astrophage. So it's a saving humanity movie. I definitely don't want to spoil how he gets to space. Because the movie is told, we start on the spacecraft immediately with Ryland Grace, and then as the movie goes along, it's told in flashbacks. But the biggest plot point that the trailers, I guess it's good that it gave it away. As someone who read the book, I had mixed feelings about the trailers giving away the alien.
Fill me with your knowledge.
This is why it's awkward going to the theater.
Because I say shit like that. Fill me with your knowledge, Clint. I was in the middle of reading this book. I did not finish it because I'm a lazy ass. So I also simultaneously stopped watching trailers for pretty much anything unless I just happened to make it to the theater in time. What was can we say what the spoiler was from the trailer? What was it? Just that he met a rock?
Yeah, it shows that there's an alien that he meets in space, which most people that read the book, planning to see the movie, you probably knew that. I think it's
about 100. It's almost 200 pages in. It's a stretch a little bit if you're reading it, but
yeah,
movie-wise, not a huge spoiler, I guess.
No. And so it's really about their relationship, this, a first contact, if you will, between humanity and the Arids, I believe they're called. The aliens had a name. Yes. Chris wasn't paying attention during the movie, if you can't tell. But
I was recovering from the amount of high chews that I ate during the Academy
it's
Awards.
true, very quite high chews. Putting the high in high chews. I think I would like to hear your thoughts on the movie first. That way it can be buttressed by my own.
So I will start by saying it was an enjoyable afternoon at the movies. I enjoyed this movie, thought it was fine. It kept my attention. It is beautiful in a lot of parts. However, for me, it was lacking in a couple of ways. One, whenever you build a movie as a movie that is meant to be watched on the IMAX, and you have big, huge scenes, big sequences, all these things, and when you have like maybe two big set pieces ish, like when I could think of, oh man, this is just visually stunning. It was once or twice in the movie, and it was good. Did it blow me away? Not necessarily, but I felt it was a very odd strategy. I understand why, because IMAX and premium large formats are all the rage, and that's how you make your money now. But for a movie that is so much Ryan Gosling talking to a rock in a cave, I didn't understand the justification there for that. And another big narrative with this story is we didn't shoot any of this with green screen. And I'm like, I know. I can tell. You were in a cave with a rock 3/4 of the movie. Totally get that. It got really cute for me really fast is another criticism that I have. Ryland Grace is so intelligent, so smart. I mean, he's literally this middle school teacher that somehow makes his way onto the project and is the one to discover the astrophage. He gets so silly, so cute, so quick. Whenever people do that in a movie and they're supposed to be like really, really smart, they start to lose credibility with me. And it was very much for me Ryan Gosling doing his charming, kind of smart, witty guy kind of thing. And that works and that has a certain amount of charm. But for my taste, it just got to be a little bit too much. And it seems that we have these, whether it's The Martian or a number of other space movies, a lot of it can hinge on the humor. I think back to Mission to Mars with Gary Sinise. That movie had zero humor. You want to see a space movie with zero sense of humor? Watch Mission to Mars. Now, something like this needs the humor, but I just felt it was a little too cutesy wootsy in some spots. And I'll say, when things get built up for me, this was like, this is the first Academy Award winner of the year. This is our first Best Picture nominee. And like, I could probably, this day and age, I can probably see that happening. I would have not normally, many years ago, walked out of this movie thinking, oh yeah, this would have been a perfectly fine sci-fi movie. Felt there was a lot of time spent on stuff that really didn't need to get spent on. There was a karaoke, very strange to me karaoke scene with one of the main characters early on that I didn't feel was totally earned. It felt as if somebody that I didn't like all that much was getting up and I had to watch them do karaoke for about 2 minutes. And so a little weird, little awkward for me. And so yeah, overall, I felt it was a good fun. I think I gave it 3 stars and liked it on Letterboxd, but a lot of stuff that's really putting it over that's really pushing it for some people really just didn't do it for me. And I guess that means I hate this movie.
No, you don't hate it. You just said you thought it was above average. 3 stars, it
was fine. It was fine.
It's
It was
above
very,
average.
very, very fine. I'll say I enjoyed watching Ryan Gosling talk to a rock for 2 hours versus Sandra Bullock screaming in space for 2 hours.
Okay. You could have just stopped. Could have just stopped before you had to,
I like
to
that more.
sideswipe Sandy B. First off, Gravity is one of the best theater experiences. As a movie, sure, like it's fine. I thought her performance was really good, but Gravity in the theater is something that I will. There has not been a space movie since that has looked as good or sounded as good. And actually, last year, when I toured Warner Brothers Studio, they have a sound design event you can go to. It takes like 10 minutes, and they show from a scene from Gravity and build out all the sound design, like, and show how it was made.
Sandra Screaming 1,
No,
Sandra Screaming
it's
2,
George.
Sandra Screaming 3.
No, it's George. First off, she doesn't scream a whole lot in the movie. Ryan Gosling screams more in Project Hail Mary. And it's funny when he screams his classic scream. Whatever. The gravity slander. I can't. This is, you love Interstellar, and
That's a good movie.
That's, I could say it is a pretty good movie. There's no humor for sure. And as a counterpoint to Chris's, I think it's going to go down as one of the great sci-fi movies. It'll be this generation's E.T. like level.
Up. No,
the more,
it is not.
Yes, the more I've sat with it, I've been sitting with it. We saw it, last week. I 100% think that this movie is going to have cultural legs.
As someone, I've heard this phrase multiple times now, and I'm already sick of it. Interstellar for a new generation? One.
I haven't heard that.
Does Interstellar need a new generation?
No, Gen Z loves Interstellar.
Do they?
Yes. So that's silly. They love how detached it is.
This is perfectly fine. This is a perfectly fine movie. I'll probably buy it on 4K. I'll buy it on 4K. I'm not going to go out of my way, but that baby's on sale on Amazon. I'll grab it. But as far as being the one that I'm like, I need the $120 steelbook collectors, get a piece of memorabilia with it.
Okay, but you're just making something. No one is offering you $120 version of this movie. I wouldn't buy that either, just because I have to pay for gas and things like that. This movie has every element it needs to be a classic down the road. Now, it's hard
down the road.
Well, that's what classics are. Like, they're not immediate. It has to get distance. Like Interstellar, when Interstellar came out, people were not like, this is the greatest sci-fi movie of all time.
I was.
Well, I'm sure you were. Other than Nolan fanboys, that did that movie a better service, I think, because over time, it has grown and grown in people's estimation. I am a holdout when it comes to Interstellar, but I admit that people love that movie. A lot of people. But a lot of these sci-fi movies, they stick with us in different generations. And I think this is the movie that's going to stick. And it's perfect because there is a gap in sci-fi movies now. Like, Star Wars isn't the thing that sticks anymore. Like, I think that Guardians of the Galaxy was the first to kind of take advantage of that, where it really felt like when I saw the first one, I was like, oh, this is like the cool sci-fi movie for this next few years. Like, we haven't had something like this in a while. And Project Hail Mary, as much as it echoes a lot of the movies that come before, that's what every classic movie does. It pays its respects. And from a filmmaking standpoint, I think the no green screen thing, the reason why that's such a talking point in the marketing is because when you do watch most space movies, it is crazy the amount of green screen effects that they use, even just for interiors. And the fact that they actually built the spaceship in this film. Not only that, but they made it more difficult from a production design standpoint than in the book. In the book, it doesn't come out from the middle in that like centrifuge spin. That's totally for the movie, which had to have been more difficult than them just doing it the way they did it in the book. Rocky is really on set with Ryan. He's real this is a real puppet, a puppeteer, which reminds me of E.T. and all those old movies.
If this had been a CGI space buddy, I would have walked out.
It would have ruined
this movie.
The movie
hinges on the success of Rocky.
Yeah.
IMO. That is, in my opinion,
that's me agreeing.
Agreed, right there. Rocky was a success. If that had been a CGI piece of shit, I'm your space pal, buddy.
This, and also to kind of a counterpoint to your Best Picture expectation, Sinners came out similar time frame, and it was well, I hope this is Best Picture, and then it ended up being considered the second. So I do think there is.
I walked out of Sinners not thinking necessarily this is Oscar movie, because it traditionally has not been an Oscar.
And I think for people over the age of 30, that's hard to get that out of our heads. The landscape has changed. I mean, I used to tell people, oh, my summer is for movies is actually in the fall, because that's award season and that's where most of the movies that I've been waiting all year to see come out. And that's just not a thing anymore. I will say, it is in the running for production design. There has to be a front runner at the Oscars for most of the year, like Project Hail Mary, because the spaceship design is so fucking impressive. The way that they had to get around shooting, there's a lot of glass and reflecting without giving away too much about their interactions. There's so many constraints from a filmmaking standpoint that the production design goes way above and beyond, and visual effects department from a certain point. I really, it's funny, it's emotional. It's a little too long, but I feel that way about most movies these days, especially space movie. I mean, fucking Interstellar is way too long.
Felt the length. I really felt the length on this one, and it was because of scene like that karaoke scene towards the
I
beginning
love
of
that.
the movie.
You're wrong about the karaoke scene.
And it's like, if you want to have that, cool. But did we have to have
Wrong.
the entire freaking song?
Yes, we
No.
did. I think
could
it's a
have cut
stand.
out a minute and a half, 2 minutes of that thing.
That's a standout. That's a standout moment for me. Actually,
Where does Rocky land in your all-time space pets pantheon?
well, first off, Rocky is a sentient being who is more than a pet. So
Rocky is a space pet.
he's a friend, and when something bad happens to him or he's in danger, I feel it more than just like a pet rock. But whatever.
I find him to be, or him, it, whatever. I find it to be incredibly impractical because it just shits glass, right? It just shits glass. When it needs to make something, it just makes a big. I would just be like, we have limited space here, dude. If you shit more glass, panes of glass, why couldn't it have been like plastic, something a little bit more flexible?
Because you have to open your mind to other worlds and cultures in space. You're such a big Trekkie. You should appreciate the Iridians and their design.
When I'm thinking about the kind of space pets or friends that I want, and it's not going to be one that shits. Good performance, but I think the whole shitting glass is not practical. Not practical at all.
This is, I'm glad to have this recorded history that this movie will have crazy legs. This is the movie that you could take your family. It has been a while since a movie on this scale has worked as well as this one does. I can't imagine anyone, as much as you have criticisms of it, you still liked it. And I can't imagine anybody sitting through and being like, what a piece of shit. I didn't like that movie. Like, it's not going to have big detractors. I genuinely think this is a future classic.
And I can see them having gone for like a 4-quadrant kind of, like, we're going for all the different demographics on this one.
Which the book has.
Yeah. And not to mention, and like I said, you've read the book. I've read half the book at this point. But it really hits all 4 quadrants quite well. And for my taste, it just, because we spent a little too much time in places and it felt a little bit overly long.
I think what you describe as cutesy, I would just describe as a comedy. It functions as a comedy in a lot of respects, and for me, that worked well. I loved the music, how it had, the score has both kinds.
The score was cool.
Yeah,
it was very cool.
It really switches to like classroom inspired, almost like in Oppenheimer when there's some of that, like there's someone is really thinking, but then there's also these big orchestral versions of, danger in space moments that I was like, that couldn't have been an easy score to do. And Greg Fraser, the Dune cinematographer, he shot this.
Speaking of Dune, this is what it's going to be up against it's going to be Dune versus Hail Mary for a lot of stuff.
So yeah, I think even though you have some criticisms, I think both of us would say go see this movie in the theater. I personally, if you can afford RPX or IMAX, I do think that it makes those scenes stand out. I think our idea of IMAX, Nolan has kind of screwed that over. And now with Coogler, with Sinners, it's like everything has to be, we shot this for IMAX and it's this huge IMAX production. I loved it. To me, it's more dynamic. It reminds me of a song or a piece of orchestrated music where the IMAX scenes really feel like, oh, wow, that's impressive. And to me, that makes me feel more like Ryland Grace connection of all of a sudden I'm seeing the most amazing thing I've ever seen. And now I'm going back to my little, ship to figure things out. That's my take.
I'll say the energy, the vibe of it for me was very I almost heavily influenced, maybe. I don't know, I haven't heard him say this or not, but I felt very Flight of the Navigator on this one.
Whoa.
Do you remember Flight of the Navigator?
Yeah, but I haven't, not since I was a kid.
The alien that is voiced by Paul Rubens. There's the interactions that go back between the alien and
Yeah,
I felt it the entire time I was thinking Flight of the whenever
that's
they're
funny.
back and forth and the way that they talk, I was like, this is very Flight of the Navigator, in my estimation.
For me, I was thinking, thank God he didn't run into an alien like Stitch or something and just ruins everything. Or as,
Well,
xenomorph.
I was like, when is this gonna go bad? When's
Yeah.
he gonna start shooting glass at his face?
We're just too horror pilled. I watch too many horror movies, so it's hard to disconnect that when I'm watching a movie like this. Because if I hadn't read the book, I would have probably thought,
And I kind of,
no,
I kind
it's
of
gonna
had some sick,
suffocate him.
I had some sick thoughts about The Rock
Well,
because
Dwayne Johnson or Rocky.
We'll save Dwayne Johnson for a later episode.
Okay.
I have bad thoughts about him too. However, when there's a scene where they're eating, and the way that this rock eats, I'm just like, I want to see how it fucks, man. I want to see how it fucks.
It's one of the funnier scenes.
If this rock eats the way that it eats, I want to see it fuck.
Yeah, I imagine it's similar.
And it must exist. We have love, we have
Yeah,
relationships. So there's got to be some way that these rocks are knocking pebbles or
they're skipping stones. Something. There's a lot to be explored there in Project Hail Mary 2, Mary Full of Grace. Yeah. So we recommend the movie.
Most Catholic movie I've seen this year.
Wait. That's because Scorsese, his movie isn't out yet. So we recommend Project Hail Mary. Enjoyed it. I think you're gonna revisit that movie and like it more.
I mean, I'll go back and watch all sorts of sci-fi shit.
Yeah.
Like I watch Red Planet once a year.
There's an arrow. Wait, there's an arrow of Red Planet, right? Okay, let's go back to the captain's log. Let's get our crew going. So we're gonna jump right into our 3 picks. Chris, do you want to kick it off with your first pick?
Yes. So I thought about this long and hard. I feel that I have to put together a really tremendous, well-balanced crew while at the same time fulfilling my own goals in life as well. And so these are very strategically picked. And so just going straight into my third pick. My third pick comes from a relic of the late 1970s post-Star Wars cinema, that little era in there. It is 1979's Moonraker. Yes, James Bond, directed by Lewis Gilbert, who also directed You Only Live Twice and The Spy Who Loved Me. So this is the James Bond that goes to space. He's put up against the evil Drax, which Drax is like Elon Musk, kind of.
A little bit.
Yes, a
little bit,
He's
yeah.
a little bit. He's a little bit more, I don't know, social.
Yeah, he doesn't do a Nazi salute once
He doesn't
in the
yeah,
movie.
You don't get as much of that from Drax. And so, well, actually, never mind, because the whole plot of this movie, the challenge here, what James Bond is saving us from, is that Drax wants to create a perfect race.
Yep. Yep.
And so Drax employs a number of very beautiful looking women, of course. He's employed Dr. Goodhead. Dr. Goodhead is who accompanies James Bond.
Such a good name.
This masterful adventure of
Holly,
the
right?
19th.
Is it
Holly Goodhead, yes.
Holly Goodhead?
This movie starts out with Bond on an airplane with I guess a flight attendant, maybe a flight attendant, maybe another spy. And he has his hand on her thigh, and she simply says, "Any higher, Mr. Bond, and my ears will pop." So that gives you an idea of where we're at in this piece of cinema. So the character from this movie that I'm choosing to bring into space, I need protection whenever I'm in space for a number of reasons. And so this character has balls of steel. He has a heart of not steel, but love. And we'll get to that. And he has a mouthful of steel. This is Jaws. Jaws is my first character for who I would like to get stuck in space with, mainly for protection. And I went down a rabbit hole of a number of different movies looking for strong men to protect me. Not strong women, but strong men. Strong men exclusively. And so
My God.
and so I realized I was just barking up the wrong tree on a lot of like Sunrise didn't do it for me. What else did I recently? Silent Running. Have you seen Silent Running?
No.
That
the
is
eco sci-fi movie.
Yeah, that's a dude in a spaceship.
Bruce
with
Stern.
A bunch of, it's Bruce Stern, and he loves plants in space so much so that he kills over it.
So yeah, that's a loose cannon. You don't want that.
A lot of musical interludes. There's a great Arrow release on that I just got as well. But yeah, Jaws. You first see Jaws in this movie by pushing James Bond out of the plane. Perfect plan. You just come up right behind James Bond, push him out. Of course, Bond foils all of that. But Jaws really has some highlights here. This is kind of what got me to choose him. For one, he loves to party. In Moonraker, there's a part of this that takes part in Carnival. And guess what? Jaws dresses up. He's in disguise, but the dude loves to party. We have this sky rail flight, or the sky rail fight, where he literally chomps a hole in the cable so that we know if we need a good wire cutter, if we need to get through anything very thick, we can use his big, manly, thick steel teeth. So the reason ultimately that I came around on Jaws, because he is this big, big, menacing creature. He seems to be entirely bad. And that's what I found in a lot of the men that I was looking for in space for. Just a lot of evilness in men in space. They always want to turn on each other. You know, they want sex. They want this. Jaws ultimately chooses life. Jaws chooses life. And so instead of helping Drax create the perfect race of people, Drax falls in love. And I couldn't, what was the character? I couldn't find the character's name. He falls in love with a beautiful pig-tailed blonde woman in space on the space station. And he chooses to side with James Bond and helps James Bond out. He has to stay in the station with his new love. And you hear for the first time, now this is the second time that Jaws has been in a movie. And so Jaws, what does he do? He gets his love the best. So he's got a bottle of Bollinger, and he tears open this bottle of Bollinger with his teeth, and he simply says, "Here's to us." And I can't think of any other gentle giant that I want protecting me and is not going to mess up any game that I have in space. He's not going after anyone else. He's already taken for. Okay, this will play into
That's true.
Some of my life's goals later on in this particular episode. But because he can protect us, because he has a heart for humans, a heart for life, a heart for love, really. This is why I am choosing Jaws from the 1979 classic James Bond movie, Moonraker. Now, I know you've recently seen Moonraker. What did you think of this classic?
I thought it was dog shit. I had not seen any of the Roger Moore Bond movies, other than They're pieces, clips of them. I was familiar with some of the like skiing scenes of Bond and things like that, but I had never sat down and watched the entire movie. It's batshit crazy. The intro was terrible. There's he throws a fucking ninja off of a clock tower and then misquotes Casablanca. He knocks out a bad guy into a coffin on a gondola.
Got special permission to use the
Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Close Encounters of the Third Kind. They got special permission to use the chime in there.
Yes, which ties into Project Hail Mary because there's a Close Encounters reference in that movie as well. Yeah, I did enjoy the Moonraker Close Encounters reference, but it's obvious that the studio made this in a response to Star Wars, and we just got to get Bond into space, and then they have just the most contrived bullshit before space. It's like, I don't know, maybe he goes here and goes there, and then now he's in space. But for sure, the campy Bond stuff is there. Jaws, Richard Kiel from Happy Gilmore is probably how most people, you know, younger than the age of 70 know him as. And I'll be seeing you in the parking lot.
His stuff, his fight, like I think in particular his fight on the sky rail that takes place in what is it, Rio?
Yeah.
Is it Rio? Yeah, is it Rio? Yeah, it's Rio.
Yeah. One of the many places.
It's super. The way it's shot, I get a little vertigo. You know, you really feel how high up they are.
Yeah.
James Bond just always foils him, though.
I
no
know
matter what he does. So
it is. It's a good lesson.
Made the right
though.
decision.
Yeah, Jaws. It's wild to think that a Bond villain, even the Bond villains, know that anything related to Nazism is wrong. Just, you know, like, you guys seeing a pattern here? Even the bad guys think you're the bad guys.
Drax has I don't have him written down, but Drax has some great villain one-liners.
Yeah, he has some, I mean, great, in parentheses, I understand what you mean. It makes sense though, as soon as I finished the movie, because at first when you said Moonraker was on your list, I thought like, oh, that's a loophole to get James Bond because he goes into space. That makes sense. And then after I saw the movie, I immediately I thought, oh, Jaws. He's putting Jaws on there. I just know it. Yeah.
You put it on Letterboxd. I was like, God.
Yeah, I just knew. I was like, damn it, he's picking Jaws.
Because I was like, I bet most people think I'm picking James Bond.
Yeah. It's a good pick. It's a good pick. I think it's a good start to your crew. I was not, for my first pick, thinking necessarily about strong men who could hold and comfort and protect me, and not even necessarily fit.
I'm a wuss. This one wants
Ripley the movie dog.
No, I know realistically I will be a scared wuss in space, and I need a manly man to protect me.
Yeah, you know,
who's not going to get in my way.
Yeah, and I kind of understand what you're thinking in that respect too. My first pick, well, first let me just put through the synopsis of the movie because we've already mentioned the movie. But if you've never seen this, during a manned mission to Mars, astronaut Mark Watney is presumed dead after a fierce storm and left behind by his crew. But Watney survived and finds himself stranded and alone on the hostile planet. With only meager supplies, he must draw upon his ingenuity, wit, and spirit to subsist and find a way to signal to Earth that he is alive. This is The Martian from Ridley Scott. Yeah, starring Matt Damon in a movie star role. Like, just carries this movie, and it has a lot of great actors in it. When I rewatched it, I was shocked at how many great actors are stacked, and they're in tiny parts.
Non-actors as well.
In just small parts too, but Kristen Wiig and Jessica Chastain and Jeff Daniels, Michael Pena, Sean Bean, Kate Mara, Sebastian Stan, like a lot of Marvel people. Sebastian Stan, Benedict Wong. So that's crazy. Donald Glover and Nick Mohammed, some like comedians pop up. You're like, what the hell? It's really, really great cast. But this movie I read the book pretty much when it came out, and it had already. I love to read. In fact, sometimes when you're talking, I just look for words around my room. So I'm like, oh, I don't know what Chris is saying. I need to read something real fast. But, well, it had already, I think it was interesting if you were into reading books, which at the time, you know, pre-pandemic, books weren't as hot as they got post-pandemic. People were like, all of a sudden, people were like, what the fuck are we going to do? Well, we could read.
And there was an uptick in read.
There was. It's true. It's true. Isn't that funny? It took, and really that's why the evil cabal that runs the world and the publishing companies,
is there like, there's got to be
created
like an asterisk on like the Library Association statistics. Like,
yeah.
We saw a 30% increase this year with an asterisk that says
and then it just tanked after. So Ridley Scott, he really creates a just banger of a movie, in my opinion. It has humor, drama. It kicks off right away. Here's this great chemistry of this crew. Yeah, it doesn't waste any time, and it's still a little too long, I would say. But that's, you know, just a hair. But it's good. It's a really good movie.
When he gets to, and I think this has been out for
it's
years,
11 years. So
when he gets on his final mission on the rover to go to the other I don't know, launch or whatever. Somewhere in there, it's when he gets in for that final ride where I'm like, damn, we got another like 35, 40 minutes to go.
Yeah. but it's so
But talk about
good.
it is, and to be the only thing or person on screen for what has to be at least half of this movie speaks to the amazing things that Matt Damon can do.
Yeah.
And I just there was no point in this movie that is, I mean, it is 2.5 hours. I did not rewatch that for this particular episode, but I've watched it quite a few times, and there's no point in time I've watched it that I've ever felt bored. It's very efficient in its storytelling. Everything that is there is needed from a whether it's explaining some bit of the, and that's this movie, I think, better than even I think Project Hail Mary a little bit about explaining its own science
Mm.
and making it, adapt it well enough for someone like me to understand it.
Yeah. Well, that's
Does it
Andy
so
Weir's.
well.
Yeah, that's what Andy Weir is great at that even in the book. I don't know if he actually was a teacher before he was a novelist, but that seems to be Ryland Grace, the way
I
he
wouldn't be
talks.
surprised.
Yeah, the way he talks in Project Hail Mary as a middle school teacher is very much how the science is explained in Project Hail Mary and The Martian, where even if it wasn't your best subject, you're getting it. Don't I might not know all the details that you're describing, but I do understand. It's a polar opposite of, because this came out within a year of Interstellar. And I remember
Yeah.
thinking Interstellar was like, we purposefully don't want you to understand this shit the first time you're watching it, like unless you know about astrophysics. And it's not like it's impossible to explain that movie. It's that you watch it a couple times and you're like, oh, okay, it's a little deceptive in how it feels headier than it actually is, but it doesn't hold your hand with any of that. But The Martian, you literally have Matt Damon looking into a camera, saying what he's recording these logs, he's saying what he's doing.
The shit out of this.
I'm gonna science the shit out of fuck you, Mars. Which the movie is PG-13, got away with 2 F words, which isn't normal. They had to fight for that. Yeah. And even a written F word on the screen. So props to them for fighting the MPAA.
If only they could have fought the Golden Globes.
I know. I'll tell you, obviously, spoilers for 11-year-old movie. But when Mark Watney, Matt Damon, is being rescued by his team and he's talking to them, and it's the first time he's on Mars. He survived for like 450 something Earth days. Matt Damon crushes it. The breakdown he has feels so real, and it is why, even though I could be real cutesy with it and pick someone else, I am picking Mark Watney for the first on my team. This guy is a genius. He's almost supernaturally competent at surviving, which is important. He has experience living on a hostile planet like Mars. That could come into handy. He's not bad to look at, but also isn't the rizziest guy, which is good. I'm the captain of the ship. So, I don't necessarily, need a mutiny on my hands just because Matt Damon's charming the pants off the rest of the crew. So it's an important pick at that. I think he'd be able to, figure out a way to get us.
He's a provider.
He's a provider, a nurturer.
Mm-hmm.
He's a grower. He's great on a team, which that was when I was thinking of my picks. It was clear. I was like, I need to make sure I pick at least a couple of them need to be really good at working well with others.
I wish I had your confidence, because I would fucking hate to have this guy on my team, because he'd be the guy that everyone likes. He knows how to do everything. He's charming. He's kind of handsome. I'd be like, fuck that guy.
No, he's so good.
I agree with you on so many points, but
no, he's good at falling in line.
I would be like,
I'm
gonna go grab my Falcon wrench now.
Even when Jessica Chastain, who plays Lewis, Captain Lewis, or whatever her commander, she's leading the mission. When she has to make this really hard decision and he's getting in her face, he immediately backs down after she's like, "This is the way it's gonna be." So I was like, even under pressure, Mark Watney. I was looking for the science.
Your own little job interview there.
Yeah.
Like, here's a test.
Exactly.
Show me cinema.
And he cusses, which is important on my crew. I need people that are okay with cussing, because I'll be saying a lot of fucks and a lot of shits on that ship. So you just got to get used to it. So that is my first crew member, Mr. Mark Watney, who will probably be very happy to have me pick him up for another mission, because I bet he misses space.
I think it's a great pick. And I'm
Thank you.
glad that we were able to get Martian in here somewhere, considering this is connected to Project Hail Mary.
For
I
sure.
guess also I was kind of going back to my thoughts on Project. I think about it a lot now. It's consumed me. That's why we couldn't record this episode yesterday. I was just thinking about this so much. I might have been unfairly comparing it to The Martian. And it's
Okay.
I don't see how anyone necessarily can't, because it's,
Hey,
I mean, they're
yeah.
similar-ish books,
Same author. Same screenwriter. Drew Goddard wrote both the
Drew Goddard.
Martian and
So
Project.
Martian hit so hard for me on so many
Yeah.
levels, and Project Hail Mary just hit for me on a few levels. So yeah, that may be something as well. But I'm glad we got to talk about The Martian. So my second crew member that I'm going to be stuck in space with. So in review, I have Jaws. He's the protector. Now,
Not the shark.
I'm in search of a leader, and there is no better set of leaders or even leadership principles than that of the Star Trek universe. And you get into the Star Trek universe, and then you start thinking, okay, well, gosh, I have so many leaders to choose from. Everyone there is tremendous, from Star Trek the motion picture all the way up to Star Trek Beyond. And don't ask me much about what's going on TV these days. I don't know what we're doing. Don't know if it's worth it. Well, I watched a little bit of
Paramount is doing a Star Trek, right?
They actually even released a movie too. There's a Paramount Star Trek movie. Anyway, I ended up settling on what I consider to be the best new generation cast movie. This is 1996's Star Trek First Contact, directed by none other than that handsome bearded Riker himself, Jonathan Frakes. He actually directed this, but this is also a stacked cast. We got James Cromwell, Alfred Woodward, Alice Krieg, Robert Picardo as a cameo as his Star Trek Voyager Star Trek character, and blink and you miss it. These two are in this movie, and I made sure on this viewing to look. Neil McDonough, one of Neil McDonough's first films.
Yep.
And do you know who the other one is?
I do, actually.
Adam Scott.
Adam
Scott is in this. Blink and you miss it. It's in... It's whenever the Enterprise
Worf.
at the beginning of the movie goes to the Borg battle, and in Worf's ship, Adam Scott is driving. So this is the Star Trek movie when the Borg travels back in time to interrupt, to challenge, to delay, to just erase the day in which we made first contact with an alien being from our warp signature cells. I'm not even going to try to explain the science behind it. And this one is an absolute banger. When you think in terms of what a perfect movie is, and pacing and whatnot, and the way it's written, how each scene is used, to me, this is very, very shy of being almost a near complete perfect movie. You have a lot of legwork in kind of catching people up, because we kind of, I don't know if we have much experience with this these days, where you had a franchise like this that would, you could very reliably rely on Star Trek releasing a movie every 2 to 3 years. It would usually be in the winter months. These days, a regular franchise releasing a movie every 2 to 3 years. And whenever I say that, I'm not talking about Marvel bullshit. I'm just talking something like James Bond, Star Trek releasing every couple of years. And so you would have people that had not watched the television show, that had never seen a Star Trek before ever. And if they happen to be at this movie for the very first time, you've got to catch people up with who these characters are, how this is relating to the TV show. And so within the first 13 minutes, we set up that Captain Picard in Next Generation had been kidnapped by the Borg and assimilated by them in what is one of the freakiest beginnings to a Star Trek movie ever. And even to this day makes my skin crawl a little bit. He's got like the Borg implant that's like crawling like through his cheek and stuff at the mirror. A lot of times when I splash water, a lot of time when I splash water on my face, I wonder if a Borg implant is going to pop out. I have these thoughts in real life.
I believe it.
We go from there to establishing that we've got shiny new Star Trek uniforms. We don't have the colors anymore. These are just kind of, I don't know, they're kind of drab. They're a little gray, but they're to me they're a lot more polished. We have a new ship, the Enterprise E. This thing is very, very fancy, like post 2000s techno kind of ship. Some nice and bright neon colors, a lot of cool stuff. And so we got the new ship, and that basically Starship is going to, or the Federation is going to keep the Enterprise out of a new conflict with the Borg because of Captain Picard's history with the Borg. Well, Picard's like, fuck that. We're gonna go fight the Borg, engage. And so they go do that. And then they battle the Borg, and then the Borg decide to go back in time to fuck up First Contact. This all happens, and that took me 15 minutes to explain. They do it in 13 minutes in the movie. So you are off to the races 13 minutes in, and this movie is like a cool like hour 50 or something like that. And so every bit of it is used great. And so I needed leadership, tried and true leadership. Not only do I need leadership, but I need somebody that can give me wisdom, that can give me life lessons and make me cry just a little bit sometimes, even in a Star Trek movie. And so I am choosing for the second person that I would like to get stuck in space with, none other than Captain Picard himself from Star Trek First Contact. Now, I would like to have Captain Picard around just so I can hear him say things. I remember this so vividly, so clearly, the trailer for this movie. He has made the decision to break with the Federation's orders to stay out near the neutral zone, and he orders the helmsman to go to whatever system it is, and he just goes, maximum warp. And it's so booming, so amazing. You know what else this movie does really, really well? Scale. You never in the other movies really get a tremendous sense of scale of how big the Enterprise is. But in this first battle, in First Contact, the ship just flies right by Worf's ship, and by comparison, the Enterprise is like so huge, and it actually does that quite a few times throughout the movie. But one of my favorite parts, just allowing Patrick Stewart to recreate a kind of 1930s noir movie within a Star Trek movie is so amazing. And then all of a sudden, like, Patrick Stewart knows the role, man. He knows how to like play these things. And so he goes up, I have to talk to Nikki. What's up, dicks? The usual, Nick. Martinis and skirts. Like, come on. Like, I want someone like this around. Like, if we have a holodeck, we are going to be cosplaying and role-playing like absolutely crazy.
Hell yeah.
And then not only is Patrick Stewart a tremendous leader, he knows what he's doing, has a lot of space theory, space battle theory, probably. I know that whenever it comes right down to it, he is going to kill for me. And in the shot of this movie where he has the Tommy gun on the holodeck shooting the Borg, and he goes, ah! You don't see anyone emote like that. You felt the passion, the drive, everything with that. And I tell you what, there's a couple of different Picards that are really amazing to be around. Angry, vengeful Picard like that is really cool to observe. But brooding Captain Picard is really good as well. When he's just sitting around, he's like playing around his and he ends up talking about what do they talk about Moby Dick.
Yes.
Dick, because she's destroyed all of his little ships.
Yeah.
And stuff like, the man knows how to dress at the very beginning of the movie. Captain Picard, and I know Captain Picard is not going to get in the way of any game that I have. He's going to be a good leader for Jaws. So yeah, Captain Picard is going to be the leader of our pack from Star Trek First Contact, 1996. You're a bit of a Trekkie, right? Or
not a Trekkie. I enjoy Star Trek from a place of if the movie's good, I enjoy it. But if it's just Star Trek, it doesn't excite me. The framing of it. So I'd never seen First Contact, but when I saw that you picked it, I thought to myself, well, okay, I've seen episodes of Next Generation. Obviously, one of the most successful shows in syndication when I was growing up. Even though it aired in '87, I mean, if you grew up in the '90s, it was playing somewhere constantly, all the time. TNT maybe or US, I can't remember
Somewhere
which one.
at 10 o'clock at night,
Yeah, there was an
Star
episode.
Trek: The Next Generation was on.
So it was the first crew that I was used to. I'm sure I did start with Generations first, and I almost didn't watch First Contact because I hated that movie. I was so shocked by, in my opinion, how bad that movie was that I was nervous. It's like, oh no, now I have to watch this movie and tell Chris that I hate it.
Was like your first contact with Star Trek?
No, with Next Generation's crew in a movie.
Oh, okay.
Like I didn't go see Nemesis when it was out. Like I remember the trailer and things, but other than watching the show, the only movies I had seen were the original crews, which Wrath of Khan. This is a great movie. I really enjoyed Wrath of Khan.
You had an appreciation for Captain Kirk meeting Captain Picard.
Yes, yeah. I understood what that was supposed to.
Huge.
Yeah,
this was a huge milestone in my life.
In my opinion, they did not. I think they whiffed it hardcore. It in that whole movie looks like a fucking TV show. I was just like, oh my gosh.
I might have agreed with you. My affinity for that movie has grown and grown.
Okay.
Generations to me has grown very, very well.
But
I've been using quotes from it in my yoga classes last week.
Of course you were. You're like, and now we're going to make it so #1 position.
They say time is a companion that goes along with us and reminds us never to forget things because they may never come again.
And what is the response in your yoga class when you do that? People just have their headphones in, or
well, they don't know any difference because I do every yoga class as Patrick Stewart.
Yeah. So they're
down dog Chris. Now, engage. Bring your chest closer to your thighs.
Maximum stretch. I will say, to bring it back to First Contact, as apprehensive as I was, I enjoyed it. I thought that just the opening alone was cinematic, and I was like, thank God this movie understands that it's an actual movie. Patrick Stewart gets to chew on some monologues, like he literally quotes Moby Dick, which is perfect.
To go to a nuclear bomb. They go back in time, and they have a scene where it's like 2 minutes of him like, Data, I want you to know what it feels like to touch this nuclear missile.
Yeah, it's so funny.
It's rivets, it's cracks. And Data's like, I feel imperfections in the surface of material. It's like, no, Data, feel the material inside.
But it pays off. Star Trek, I think, is inherently silly. One thing that I love about Star Wars is that it's so bonkers, the framework, that you just go with whatever. My hardest part with me about Star Trek is it's like, hey, this is like a naval ship and we're being very serious about this. And I'm like, okay, that kind of makes me want to laugh at y'all initially. So they have to do some extra work for me to really get engaged. So some of these sillier aspects initially in this movie, they pay off in the story, like Data with what happens with him, spoiler alert, but what happens with him in the Borg. And this, he
gets that cool human skin.
Yeah, he finally, which is, again,
I tell you what,
gnarly.
I want someone to touch me like someone touched Data's fake skin.
Yeah, the way Alice Craig,
when she blows on his like little bit of human skin, I'm like, can you give me some of that, please? And oh my, I nearly forgot. Beverly Crusher and Counselor Troy.
Sure,
this is like prime time. I actually had a hard time. I almost took Beverly Crusher with me because she is so fine in this movie. And I bet they're still fine to this day. Gates McFadden, if you're out there, I'm here.
I'm good. I did not.
Well, you're a married man. I'm desperately seeking.
Just because, just when you're married, that just means you get someone to tell this to.
Tell me what
like we go. Sinners. We're walking out, and my wife's just like, 2 Michael B. Jordans. I'm like, I know, that's the dream for you. And like Hell yeah. That's a healthy marriage right there. But Beverly Crusher, just not memorable as a character for me. I think because when I was a kid, if I have a choice between the humans or the cool, like the dope ass Klingon and the dope data android guy, yeah, as a kid, but they stuck out more than, Beverly Crusher.
Beverly Crusher might have been my sexual awakening.
I was a little younger than you, so that checks out. I wasn't watching that show through the horny lens like I watched other shows.
I always had a respect for Geordie LaForge.
Oh yeah,
I was like, that's
Reading Rainbow.
Reading Rainbow.
Yeah,
I trust this guy 100%.
So cool.
This guy can do no wrong.
Are they? Yeah, they're on the naval ship when the movie starts, right?
The naval ship,
or is that Generations, right? Where they're on like the
yes.
They're
out on the clip. They're on the Clipper ship. That's. That
was so funny. Patrick Stewart was the only one in that scene that looked like he belonged. Everyone else, I was like, the fuck is going on here?
It's always like if you're gonna go to the holodeck with Captain Picard, it's like, oh, we're gonna do Victorian London again.
It's like, God, Shakespeare again.
God, you really like Christmas Carol, don't you, dude?
It's just him.
Once a year, he's like, no, it's July. It's time to play Scrooge.
That's also, I know we're not talking about Generations, but that also, him in the Nexus, and he's like, I want a family. I'm like, what the fuck? Why do you have this?
I love that Picard goes to the Nexus, and he's like, you're all dressed in Victorian garb.
Yeah.
Edwardian.
Anyways, Star Trek, I think is a little silly.
That's his deepest, darkest desire.
It is. He just wants to be in a Christmas Carol.
Dressed up in Victorian dress.
A fun fact about First Contact, in 2063, when we make First Contact, it's on April 4th. It starts on April 4th, the movie, which is my birthday.
And it's right after World War III, so we're kind of right on track.
I know.
We are tracking to First Contact.
Still, I know. I was like, I'll be in my 70s.
Judgment Day passed us by. Judgment Day passed us by, but we all know Judgment Day can be delayed whenever we're thinking about AI, but we may still make First Contact.
Yeah, and I enjoyed James Cromwell and Alfred Woodard. I enjoyed the supporting cast. I didn't necessarily love the movie or think like, well, now I have to have one of these people on my crew, but I did really like it. I think I'm surprised that I hadn't heard about this movie because it's a better Star Trek movie than I expected, because I was like, oh, this is interesting. You don't hear about this movie often.
Well, it is, there is the even-numbered Star Trek movie theory that the even-numbered Star Treks are the good Star Treks. So 2, 4, 6.
Is First Contact is
wait, 6, and then this one. Yeah, this
First Contact's the 8th.
Yeah,
yeah. I guess that checks out. That's crazy though. And
then it ended with Nemesis, because Nemesis is not good.
That was the 10th.
That's when we got Baby Picard. That was kind of like really weird.
And
Tom Hardy playing Picard.
I was going to say Tom Hardy,
You're not Picard. I was born.
Exactly. Making show number 1.
You merely adapted Picard into the shadows.
It's hard to compete. With Picard. I guess.
Who's your second pick?
Egotistically, I was thinking that I was the captain and that I didn't need to find a captain.
No, see, I'm in my older age. This is all about comfort.
Yeah.
This is all about me. This is not about safety and survival. This is about y'all do these things.
Exactly.
So we've got leadership. We've got protection covered.
Yeah. So. I respect. So I was more, I want to survive. I don't mind being the captain. So some of the other things I was looking for, I'll go with my number 2 pick. Let me just read the very short letterbox synopsis of this movie. In the far future, a highly sexual woman is tasked with finding and stopping the evil Duran Durand. Along the way, she encounters various unusual people. This is the 1968 swinging sci-fi groovy classic Barbarella with Jane Fonda as Barbarella.
Shit. I have not seen this.
Yeah, buddy, you should watch it. Everyone should watch this movie at least once. It really puts into perspective, one, that Jane Fonda was one of the smokiest smoke shows whoever smoked back in the day. Oh, I get it. I get now why our parents had such like a reverence for Jane Fonda. She really was that girl. And it's a B movie, just full tilt camp. I would not say it's even necessarily a good movie. I could see why someone would love this movie. The production design is really interesting. Barbarella is this, she's from the 24th century.
What is her purpose in life?
She is an explorer, I believe is how they, she's an
I'm
explorer
still trying to be.
and she's like renowned on Earth. And so she's tasked by the president of Earth or something like that. They have like a video screen.
Surely they're unified by then.
Yeah, it's like the president of Earth, and he's basically, it's just this crazy story where they're like, there's this evil scientist named Durand, 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 which I had to pause the movie and because I was like, surely this is Duran Duran, where they got their band name from. And sure enough, it was. So Duran Duran gets their band name from the evil scientist Durand. They just took the D off. So that's an interesting fact about this.
I love that for them.
Another interesting fact is the famous French mime Marcel Marceau is in this movie in a very serious role, and apparently like his voice sounded weird and so they redubbed his lines. So,
they dubbed the mime.
This world-renowned mime, the most famous mime who ever lived, Marcel Marceau, and he's like, let me stretch my acting muscle a bit, and they were like, we're gonna dub you, but thanks. It was directed by Roger Vadim. He did like and
What's your favorite Vadim?
Barbarella for sure. He did like And God Created Woman and he was a French director and writer.
He did some French things.
He did some very French things. And
this is
a lot of his work is in the 60s. Barbarella, this is 1968.
That's some trippy shit.
This came out the same year as 2001: A Space Odyssey. So big year for sci-fi. So the opening credits to this movie is Jane Fonda as Barbarella, and it's very obvious that they've laid down a piece of plexiglass and she's rolling around and dancing on it to make it look like she's in zero G, like they just shot it top down. But she's undressing out of a astronaut suit and like strips naked, and she's like dancing, and it's just like groovy music, and the credits are going, and she's just stripping. Kind of controversially, when it came out, it wouldn't be controversial now, but it was seen as kind of like a softcore porn, and as
watch this,
very beneath, good taste.
Not beneath me.
And it wouldn't be, by today's standards, it's really there's gnarlier movies in the 1960s, from overseas that you could watch. But for having
That's very specific.
I'm guessing. If I had to think about it. This movie Jane Fonda this was at the peak of her sex kitten era. Like she was America's like sex symbol, which is so interesting because then she becomes this political activist, like right after Barbarella. Like then the roles that she takes reflect more of her political views, and she's just so outspoken against the Vietnam War, and she goes full tilt into these things. And so it is a little jarring to see such a serious. I had always heard she did Barbarella, but I just kind of ignored it in her filmography because I'd never seen it. And watching it, it's like this is wild. I mean, Barbarella so basically she gets tasked to stop this Duran fella who is developing like a machine that can kill, and I don't even know how to talk about this movie without just sounding like an insane person. But this machine that he develops makes people climax till they die.
I really got to see this.
So one of the scenes in the movie is Barbarella fighting this machine. She gets put in this machine, and Jane Fonda she's acting out, having an orgasm. It's just crazy. But they kind of talk around some of it, but it's very obvious what they're doing. There's some genuine comedy in it. The first, as she's on this adventure, which this movie, by the way, was based off of a French comic book. And so that actually makes Barbarella the very first film adaptation of a sci-fi comic book. It predates Flash Gordon and Buckaroo Banzai, because those were only TV serials. But this was like the first big screen adaptation of one of these, which Flash Gordon, I have a lot of, and Buckaroo Banzai, I like these kind of campy space movies. So it's really
it's such a blind spot for me. It's one I just never get around to.
Claude Renoir. He was the cinematographer on this. He is the nephew of director Jean Renoir, who is one of the most famous French directors of all time. They're all related to he was the grandson of the painter Pierre Renoir, who's also a well-known painter. So there's some really weird credibility behind the scenes of this very sex-filled space adventure movie. And she just goes scene to scene, being like, there's always some horny man that Barbarella meets, and she needs something, and the man's always just kind of like, well, you know what I need. And it's really funny because the first man that propositions her, he saves her life. When he's like, let's have sex, she's like, oh, I don't have any pills on me. What the pills? Well, in the 24th
last Wednesday too.
Which is why it was so awkward seeing Project Hail Mary with you. Apparently, in the 24th century, in Earth, we don't make love anymore. We take a pill.
We fuck.
Yeah, no. They don't have physical, intimate contact. They take pills until wait, how do they describe it? Until full rapport is achieved.
Rapport.
I guess till they
full
climb.
Rapport.
Basic.
Excuse me. Would you like to full rapport with me?
They show this in the movie. They show because she's used to so she's used to this weird future way of having sex, and they just describe it. But this guy's like, no, I don't know what you're talking about, Earthling. Like I like to actually like have sex, physical contact. And so they hook up, and she's like, oh, the old ways are maybe pretty good. And then there's another.
The old ways are the best ways.
And then there's another guy that she meets, and he's like, no, I want the full Earth experience, and I have like the pill. And so I won't spoil what it looks like, but they filmed the new Earth way of having sex in this movie, and it is one of the standout scenes. I was rolling, just laughing my ass off. It's a wild, cuckoo movie. There's some interesting queer undertones with Barbarella and this queen character that she meets. I heard that they had shot a scene where they kind of hook up, but it was too much, for even the French, I guess. But it's crazy. She meets a blind angel-like creature. The sci-fi goes so hard. Sci-fi.
They're pushing it.
And so
they were on something.
They were. It's very obvious. And I know that Jane Fonda, she has regrets because she's such. I mean, she's a pretty.
I was going to ask, how does she feel about this role now?
I feel like conversation around movies like this that are problematic, obviously, in a lot of ways. But now we've reclaimed so much of our sexuality that there's some people that are like, hey, Barbarella, what if she's in space and she likes to fuck? Who cares? But Jane Fonda is like, yeah, but the whole opening sequence is me just like getting naked. Like, this is not the kind of feminist take that I would have wanted to do. And she has advocated for a remake of Barbarella for a long time, that she would like to see, kind of a sex symbol, like a Sydney Sweeney type, put into a Barbarella movie that could be sexy and feminist, have their cake and eat it too. I don't know. I would
I'll give her the full Earth experience.
I would we're remaking everything. May as well. Let's just add Barbarella to the list. I won't say it's a good movie, but I will say I enjoyed the movie.
Well, you piqued my interest with Orgasm Machine.
Yeah.
Torture.
Oh man, that scene is so.
Yeah, I mean,
so
my algorithm is almost exactly that.
Oh god. Oh man. So I am picking Barbarella from Barbarella, and for multiple reasons. One, my wife has never been in a movie, so in this scenario, I'm not married. So if I'm an unmarried captain of a ship who's stuck in space, as pretty as Matt Damon is, it would be nice to have some companionship. But not only that, I need a liaison for alien races. And Barbarella, being from the 24th century, she's had so much experience with other species. She would be a great navigator of the cultural aspect of being stuck in space.
She's got those pills.
Yeah, no, Barb the Barbarella is definitely my pick. I encourage anybody to check this movie out. It's streaming right now, I think on Amazon Prime. I think has it. Yeah, hats off.
I'm gonna check that out.
Hats
I might
off to
check that
Jane
out
Fonda.
tonight.
Don't text me when you do. Uh,
Orgasm torture machine.
hey, you know, whatever works. A weapon of ass destruction. Fun fact: David Gilmour, the guitarist for Pink Floyd, contributed to some of the soundtrack of Barbarella, some of the score. As a musician, I thought that was interesting.
I don't know anything about Pink Floyd.
Well, it's the name of the device that gives you an orgasm till you die.
It's the name of the orgasm machine.
Take him to the Pink Floyd.
Take her to the Pink Floyd. Make her scream in agony until she can't anymore.
Will this be the end of Barbarella? You'll have to see the movie. Does she survive the orgasm machine?
Whoop. If you were any other man,
He goes to Worf.
you are a coward.
Oh man, that was a good scene in First Contact. There,
It's a good fucking.
It's a good scene.
It's some good shit.
his apologies.
There's
Nice
a lot.
too.
Patrick Stewart throughout that series of movies, and I think each one has some. There's Patrick Stewart is like doing way more acting than he needs to, and
Yeah.
it's like a genuinely like good moment.
Well, it's funny. It's a lot like William Shatner, except Shatner used his over exaggeration for a more swaggering comical effect. Patrick Stewart uses it for like, it doesn't matter the temperature of the room. He's like, let me bring some gravitas to this right now. Oh, okay. Cool. Who?
The Viridian system.
So I have Mark Watney and Barbarella. And you know, if Mark wants to hang out with Barbarella, I'm open to that on the spaceship.
You know he will. He is going to
Bro,
distract
Barbar-
everyone.
Barbarella is from the 24th century. She can teach us how to open our minds, you know, and I'm saying I'm cool with that.
Mark Watney's going to build her an orgasm machine.
No, he's a botanist, not a bodinist.
So my third pick, I have protection in Jaws. I have leadership in Captain Jean-Luc Picard.
Yeah.
And now I need something. I need a little something for me. But I need a healer. I need a very, very soft and tender personality that is also challenging and can be spicy whenever she needs to be.
No.
I don't know if you knew this, Clint, but in 1998, a cinematic space classic came out.
No.
That really challenged the ways that we have viewed space films before. Because there's never been another one quite like this. I'm going to go ahead and read, and it's a stacked cast as well.
It is.
In this movie, we have William Hurt, Mimi Rogers, Gary Oldman, Lacey Chabert, Jared Harris, even though we don't hear his real voice, Lenny James, Matt LeBlanc, and we'll get to the last one. The summary for this movie. The prospects for continuing life on Earth in the year 2058. That's not too long.
That's before First Contact.
That's before First Contact. So we got diverging universes here. 2058 are grim. So the Robinsons are launched into space to colonize Alpha Prime, the only other inhabitable planet in the galaxy. But when a stowaway sabotages the mission, the Robinsons find themselves hurtling through uncharted space. Otherwise, said a different way, they are lost in space. And this movie is a 2-hour and 10-minute masterpiece.
It's 2 hours and 10 minutes.
I don't know why this movie is this long.
I don't remember that. I saw
But it
this
is-
for sure.
It's 2 hours and 10
Oh,
minutes. And I fucking love this movie. It's one of those that is on my list on Letterboxd that it is a 5-star piece of shit. This is a 5-star piece of shit.
okay. I love it.
I mean, 15-year-old me went to the movie theater to see this and was taken away by the really... Some of this is really bad. Some of this is okay CGI, but some of this is like really, really, really bad
Yeah.
CGI. But that 15-year-old me, man, to have Lacey Chabert and who I am going to have as the third member of my crew, that is Heather Graham's Dr. Judy Robinson.
I knew it was going to be Dr. Judy.
Dr. Judy Robinson, the whole purpose of this entire exercise, the whole entire purpose of this episode is so that I can get a chance with Heather Graham. Okay. She wants love too. She wants love too. However, she's not going to just stand for any cocky old, pilot or anything like that. The interactions and the back and forth, the repartee between Matt LeBlanc and Heather Graham in this movie, it's unmatched. The sexual tension. I mean, this was rated PG, I think, so they couldn't go too far with it. But I tell you what, Heather Graham and Matt LeBlanc go as far as you possibly can in a PG movie. The foreplay that they have in drawing cartoons on the condensation of the window.
That's right.
Man, I have tried so hard in my life to be with a woman that I thought was hot near a window also with too much condensation.
Yeah.
It hasn't happened just yet, but I guarantee you I've learned how to draw Bugs Bunny as a result of this movie and have a story to tell. I mean, this movie is so good that the Backstreet Boys decided to steal the opening sequence of this movie for their larger-than-life music video. It does not get much better or bigger than that of a compliment at that point in time. But so many great things happening in this movie, and I think in particular, shout out to Gary Oldman, who I think gives such another great villain performance and has lines like sarcasm is the recourse of a weak mind. Lie once, cheat twice. I mean, it's very classic. It is Gary Oldman kind of cranked up to 10. And so just based on that, but then throw in, William Hurt and Mimi Rogers doing their thing. And again, Mimi Rogers, fucking hot. She doesn't do much, but what she does is amazing. Blarp, even Blarp. I'm actually perfectly okay with Blarp as a space pet. I would take Blarp over Rocky any day of the week.
Terrible.
No,
Terrible
seriously,
take.
I would totally do it. So yeah, I need someone to take care of me. A doctor. I need someone that's not going to be, swayed by being cool or athletically fit or, any of these things. So, but someone that is really going to genuinely go for a good heart. And that is Dr. Judy Robinson from Lost in Space. I want to be with her.
Yeah.
In a cryo chamber. Just two of us in one.
Don't you think part of this Heather Graham infatuation in Lost in Space is actually because of Heather Graham and Boogie Nights?
But it was the same year, right?
It was either, they were within a year of each other, at least.
They were within a year of each other, and it 100% probably, I can't remember which came out first, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
It,
but
impressive range.
I saw both of these. I saw this in the theater. I saw Boogie Nights on VHS.
So, yeah. So you saw Lost in Space first, probably.
Probably.
I
remember going to see it in the theater.
That's a mind blow.
I looked up at my dad and I remember saying, I know you think like 2001 is like the best space movie ever, but this may have just beat it.
Does 2001 have Heather Graham? I don't think so.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
How can it be the best space movie ever if it does not have Heather Graham in it?
I'm seeing a pattern. I didn't marry a blonde woman, and so Heather Graham was not like the love of my life when I was growing up. Neither was Beverly Crusher. I guess maybe it
was going to be
theme.
Judy Robinson or Beverly Crusher. I wanted one of the woman doctors.
Which I did marry a doctor, so I can say that's I do recommend that.
And so
Brains is hot.
I mean, I might have to look out for Picard a little bit. But
yeah, he's a smart guy.
I think I got it.
I think so too. She probably doesn't like bald boys. She goes, I hate bald boys. Every episode I have a reference to. I think you should leave. I don't have a lot to add to Lost in Space. I was a big fan when I was a kid. No one really cared what I watched.
Remember the first time you saw this movie?
No, I do. I remember so we used to. I do though. We used to. It was not the theater.
This was a classic VHS.
It was it was, we rented it at Blockbuster. So we used to have on the weekends, we would do this thing where we would go get Chinese food, take out in like the little white boxes and then rent a movie at Blockbuster and then make a pallet on the floor in our living room like a blanket and just like eat and watch a movie. And Lost in Space was at least once or twice was in the rotation.
That's the only way I watch this movie.
Yeah.
Is putting down blankets and eating snacks.
Exactly. To this day, that's how I watch this movie.
Yeah, that's how I watch it. Yeah.
I did not get a chance to watch this for the episode. I am excited to rewatch this movie and kind of. I've been trying to reevaluate movies from my childhood. Some that were blind spots and some
Arrow
that I just hadn't watched.
To 4K. It is a tremendous. I have it.
I know.
Arrow 4K is
the artwork is really cool.
It is.
I will probably pick that up just to support physical media sales anyways. But yeah, Heather Graham didn't stick out as much for me at the time. I was a fan of Friends. So I was like, hey, it's Joey Tribbiani, you know?
Yeah.
I'm like, that's cool. I mean, that was...
I think that's how I knew him at that point in time.
And when he also had the monkey movie where he was a baseball player with that monkey when we were around the same time. That's a movie. I swear. This isn't...
Charlie? No,
wait.
I feel like it starts with a C.
Matt LeBlanc monkey movie.
Chimp pitcher.
It's called Ed.
Ed,
1996.
I actually have never seen.
Described as a sports comedy about a chimpanzee who plays baseball. It has, fun fact, it has a 2.8 on IMDb.
That's higher than, man.
Yeah, it's higher than some. So yeah, he wasn't quite the movie star in his movie stardom. I mean, Lost in Space was it failed.
It was, yeah.
Like, but because they put a lot of money.
They thought it was going to be huge. Like there was a big toy line.
Yeah.
I remember that it did not take off the way that it was supposed to.
Apparently it cost around $90 million to make, but worldwide it only took in $136 million, which is more than its budget, but not when you consider all the marketing and merch and tie-ins.
No, and this was a huge blockbuster marketed movie. I remember very much.
Wow.
I feel like I was the absolute prime demographic.
Yeah.
I was like
the alpha prime
year-old kid going to see this. So, and that's probably why it sticks out so much in my memory. I can watch this stupid movie over and over and over and not get tired of it. I can't explain why. There's like a handful of them.
It doesn't matter.
One of them for some reason.
I love, I'm a big proponent of no guilty pleasures. I could love a bad movie. And who cares? Like, I'm not going to feel guilty about loving a bad movie.
I love a ton of it. I love that. One of my favorite stats on Letterboxd is what I've rated higher or lower than most people.
Oh, yeah, man. I can't imagine. I'm always shocked to look at the Letterboxd score on some. Okay, I dig your crew. You've got sex appeal with Jaws and make me want a Richard Keel over. You know what I'm saying? No Richard Keel puns? No. Okay. And I have Mark Watney and I have Barbarella. And the way that I thought about this for my third pick, I went back and forth. But I'm on a ship. I might be able to joke my way with the crew through the crew's like dynamics and make some decisions when it's game time. But the one thing I cannot do is fly the damn ship. I need a pilot. That's what I really need. Or we're going to be stuck in space forever. So a lot of pilots to choose from. That's kind of a big theme in sci-fi and space movies where people go in space. Usually they had to fly to get there. Typically, at the exception of maybe Galaxy Quest, which I almost picked someone from Galaxy Quest. I love that movie. It's one of my favorites. So I don't really want to read the synopsis for this movie. I will say that it is the trilogy capper for what I think is the best trilogy in the MCU. This is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, and it's specific that it has to be Volume 3. I'll tell you why. So you have Star-Lord, Chris Pratt, Gamora, Zoe Saldana, another Drax, Dave Bautista, Nebula, Karen Gillan, Palm, Teef.
I love.
She's so good. She's so good. Fucking great Mission Impossible. But yeah, she plays Mantis. You have Vin Diesel voicing Groot, Bradley Cooper voicing Rocket Raccoon. The cast is great. Maria Bakalova, she's Cosmo in the third one. She's introduced. You have Will Poulter as Adam Warlock, and Chakudi Iwuji, the High Evolutionary.
This is the one we were doing Warlock in?
Yeah, Adam Warlock's in the third one. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was trying to think the other day as to when he actually was in.
Yeah. Sylvester Stallone, he's like the leader of the Reavers and all that.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
right.
I mean, it's a crazy cast.
I've actually only seen this the one time I saw it in the movie.
Wow.
Which I enjoyed it and I liked it quite a bit.
You've probably seen Guardians of the Galaxy if you're a fan of Marvel movies. It was fairly successful at the theater, and to me, it represents.
And if you have not seen the Guardians Galaxies and say you're a Marvel fan,
Come on.
I don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, there's no way that you're an actual fan. So all of the movies are really about found family, but Volume 3 takes that dynamic, and instead of centering Star-Lord, what I love about this trilogy is, and James Gunn has been very vocal about this after the movie came out, is it's always been a story about Rocket. Like that, really, he is the heart of the Guardians movies. And so Volume 3 is all about Rocket Raccoon's history. He's some sort of like cybernetic implants in him. He's a talking raccoon, although he says he's not a raccoon. There's all these things about his past that the movies just kind of gloss over. He obviously has a lot of trauma and hurt. And in Volume 3, we learn why. We learn about the experiments. There's some really hard to watch scenes of animal cruelty in this movie. There's some great. Linda Cardellini plays like Rocket's first love, when Rocket is like his first love and friend when he's imprisoned with these other creatures that have been tested on to become sentient beings. Because more about like eugenics, this high evolutionary, he's trying to create like a perfect world and a perfect race, as we have seen through history and sci-fi movies and everything. This is a bad idea, and this is an evil concept for men to try. So when I was thinking of a pilot, I wanted someone who was tough. I wanted someone who doesn't take any shit, but also, most importantly, someone who could find family amongst the stars with this crew. So Rocket Raccoon from Volume 3. Rocket is my pick for my third
fully
slot.
Realized, matured.
Yes, it's very important that it's Volume 3 Rocket, because he's grown up, he's matured, he has learned to really work well with a team.
He's developed as a character over time.
Exactly. It's this weird thing that writers can do even in big blockbuster movies, is give developed characters. I fucking love this movie. I rewatched it, and it was probably my fourth or fifth time watching it. And the movie itself is just great. Rocket, I mean, what a great character. Bradley Cooper, really kind of, I think because he's such like a meme-ified, everywhere kind of guy now that he's like Bradley Cooper, the artist and filmmaker. And he wasn't necessarily that when they first started making these movies. Great performance. It's a genuinely great vocal performance.
The Bradley Cooper Rocket Raccoon performance, like in all three movies, I mean, not just in those three movies, whatever else he is in, is one of the unsung masterpieces of the MCU.
Yeah. It's I mean, he brings so much to the character, and really Volume 3 is a ode to the outsiders and the outcasts in the world. And James Gunn's always been great at writing characters that other people think are freaks, and then he develops them in such a way where it's like, yeah, like you see yourself in Rocket. Like, I've been on the outside looking in. A beautiful opening credit sequence where he's listening to the acoustic version of Radiohead's Creep.
Yes.
And you can see that even though he's found a place in the stars, there's something in his past that's still kind of grounding him to that hurt. A great way to do trauma, like trauma is such a buzzy word in movies and things, but this movie really does like a great job of navigating that without it feeling like tropey. It feels very earned, very earnest.
Of all the movies like that, in this one did not bother me in the least. When it comes to the trauma stuff.
James Gunn, I think it's because James Gunn understands it and understands that it's not about looking at them as, like, oh, something's wrong with you. It's I think the Guardians movies have always succeeded because it's just accepting people for who they are and where they're at. Like, Rocket isn't less loved just because he hasn't figured his shit out. And, he still has that, even though it takes him so many movies to really develop emotionally. So I think he's a great choice for the crew. Not only that, but, he doesn't seem to have much interest in having sex with humans. So it's safe with Barbarella. No, I think he and I would have fun making fun of Mark on the ship. I think anytime Mark gets too nerdy and with his botanist shit,
The Watney raccoon interactions would
does
be very interesting.
they'd
to
be
watch.
good. It would be a lot of fun. So yeah, that's my three crew members. So usually we only pick three. It's called three picks, three movies. But I texted Chris when we were planning this episode, and I said, I every ship needs like some kind of robot, android, something like that. So we're gonna do like a wild card pick here. I have zero idea what yours is, Chris. Do you want to go? Do you want to go first?
Yeah, I actually struggled with this quite a bit. There are inordinate amount of evil robots, and I I don't I don't have a need for an evil robot. Like I got a good thing. Like all of this is simply about me getting with Heather Graham, and I need a robot that is going to support me on this endeavor, but also support the other choices that I make. And one of the reasons that I really enjoy Captain Picard as a leader there's at least one time in every Next Generation movie, and there might have been, I don't know if this was like every episode, but definitely every Generation episode, there's a moment where Picard has a few minutes where he teaches Data how to feel in a way. Where he's like, well, that is a tear, Data. That is a purgation of emotion. It is normal. Oh,
I had to say your Patrick Stewart is 1,000 times better than your Guillermo del Toro. I actually enjoy your Guillermo more because Patrick Stewart's almost too close.
Yes, my movie, yes. It's
my sounds like
Frankenstein movie. I make it. You give me Oscars.
What's the caterpillar on Bug's Life? That's a beautiful butterfly.
And so I want those same kind of moments with a similar-ish robot. I went through a lot of movies, and what I ended up sitting on, it might sound like a strange choice at first, but I went with Alien Covenant.
Okay.
And I am going with Michael Fassbender's Walter, not David.
Okay.
So Walter, he kind of talks like this. He's like a, I don't know. He's like the Sling Blade of robots.
That's true.
He just kind of like talks down for some reason. I don't know. But I think that Captain Picard and Walter would have some really great moments. I could see like Walter asking Captain Picard, what is happiness? Well, Walter, happiness is that feeling whenever you get in front of the bridge and you say engage. So I think Walter,
he's a synthetic, right?
He's a synthetic.
Yeah.
He's going to be able to help with the systems. He's going to be he's my pilot as well. And so he fulfills the holes in my crew that I need. He's going to support the decisions that I've already made. And again, he's not going to get in my way.
Yeah.
Me and Heather Graham.
Although, I mean, Michael Fassbender that's an attractive man, but he is not.
He's got the.
Yeah.
He's doing the Sling Blade thing.
Yeah, no, for sure. Okay, I like that. That's not exactly what I expected. And I'm not a fan of Alien Covenant that much.
Oh, and it's a banger. It's so
I saw it, dude.
It's so gnarly.
I had to rewatch it because I saw it. I was high off my ass when I saw it in the theater. My old roommate and I, we went to go see it, and I was getting over sickness, and I had taken the last of some really strong meds because I was like, I got to finish these meds out, whatever. And then we had some drinks, which you're not supposed to drink with the meds that I was taking.
You're like, give me all the pills.
Yeah.
No, give me the alcohol.
It's just one of those things you do in your 20s where you're early 20s where you're just not you're just that dumbass teenager comes back and you're like, I wasn't even thinking about this. And so we get to the theater, and as I'm walking in, the Palladium in San Antonio starts to like shift around me, and I was like, shit. And all of a sudden I could step inside of my own body, and I was high off my ass. I don't remember like the first 10 or 15 minutes of Alien Covenant in the theater. Like I do now because I
have a
rewatched
memory
it. But
hole.
yeah.
I have a memory hole for the first 10 minutes. I've seen it probably 10 times at this
Then
point.
perfect time.
But I always forget what the first 10 minutes of this movie.
So it was a good movie to be high off of cold meds and alcohol on.
I've ever watched this movie stoned, but I would be scared out of my mind. There are certain parts of this movie that I find genuinely terrifying.
Yes, I had a laughing fit though because there's Walter and David. He plays twins, or like two characters, two synthetics, and there is they do this instrument together, and the line is "You finger, I'll blow," and I had to walk out of the fucking theater because I was being a nuisance laughing so hard.
Brother, I'll do the fingering.
Oh my god!
Brother, don't worry. I will do the fingering.
You just blow.
Just you blow. I'll do the fingering.
Man, I lost my goddamn mind. That the most unintentional funny moment.
He's so good at the fingering.
He's really, I prefer David's blowing, but that's fine. To each their own. I always know who it is. That's how I tell.
I always love thinking about that is somebody wrote that.
Yeah.
And then a lot of people read it and were like,
yeah. That
that.
they are editing the movie and they're looking at each other going, yeah.
So Ridley,
that makes
this
sense.
Like 4-minute scene about fingering.
Yeah.
Yes. What about it? What about it?
He's British.
Is it necessary? It's all necessary. It's all necessary.
He's like,
I've been making films for 100 years. What do you know?
So I'm not going to pick the galaxy's best finger or blower. For my pick for a little robot, I'm picking an actual little robot. WALL-E from the movie WALL-E.
Yeah.
First off,
that's so sweet.
Masterpiece movie. I love that movie. But WALL-E loves gardening, so he and Mark Watney are going to have so much fun gardening on the spaceship.
Oh, they will.
So they're going to be great buddies. And so when Rocket and I are being a little too mean to Mark, he always has WALL-E to hang out with. And Rocket Raccoon, he understands beings that like to just speak using their own name. Groot, WALL-E. Eventually, Rocket will know what WALL-E is saying, what every little WALL-E
like a whole utopia
means.
over there.
You
got a utopia going.
I just wanted to make sure that everyone could get along and that I could just provide, my role is really just to repopulate any planet we find with Barbarella. And so everything else needs to be taken care of, from the pilots to their living systems. And WALL-E cleans up trash. That's nice. That's
it's a plus. He says he's got custodial
experience.
Yeah,
I love that for us out in space. I like a clean.
He may be able to do more, but we know that.
Yeah, he's a cute little janitor. I like it. So
he likes old movies.
He does. That's true. He's so cute. That movie is so great. The music.
I have the Criterion of that, and I've yet to crack it open.
It looks so good.
I watched WALL-E a lot.
Really?
About 10 years ago.
Oh. So those are our picks for our intrepid crew of astronauts and rocket trash pandas. And we had doctors and bald boys, a smattering of crew
the front
members.
Of this nuclear missile, I can feel it on my insides.
He should have...
Data, you've got to get in on this nuclear material.
I would have lost it if he'd put his head just... against it. Like, Picard, you would love Barbarella.
And I've been to the third moon of Neptune. Let me tell you, sir.
I believe it. Yeah, no, we'd love to hear your picks for the 3 crew members that you'd bring.
I would.
Yeah, Chris doesn't give a shit. An honorable mention, I want to say, my cousin who listens to our show, she will be very disappointed that no one picked Stitch. She said that Stitch is a great pilot and is an adorable space puppy. All solid, reasons, but no Stitches. Yeah. No Stitches on our cruise. Yeah.
Stitch.
Yeah, but no.
I didn't see the live action.
You don't
version.
need to. It's fine.
And I didn't feel I needed.
You don't need to. I'm sure there'll be a sequel anyways. Our next episode will be on video game movies. So just pick 3 video game films. We're not necessarily picking the best that would be a difficult, maybe an impossible task to pick the best.
I think we're gonna. I think part of the purpose of this whole podcast, without being silly, is to encourage you to watch different types of movies. And so, I think a lot of the times, if we went to some of these categories and we said, "Okay, what are your favorite top 3 video game movies?" A lot of the times, those may be the same thing that you may have seen before. I think you'd be surprised with some of the picks that at least I have in store, because I have no fucking idea what Clint is picking. I don't have time for that shit. I finalized mine. So yeah, at least one of them is going to be not what you would expect.
Okay.
It's a teaser.
Minecraft movie 3 times. Well, love you, Chris. Bye.
Yes, it's been fun going on this on this Star Trek with you.
Gosh, we made first contact with a title pun.
So if we start with disengage.
My Captain Log is going to hear about this.
Man, I had a Captain Log earlier.
Speaking of Captain